was Milton's 10th birthday
конца стола.
when Edie gave him a castle.
Не замок, замок.
Ну, я понял. Ну да, так как дверь заваренная, то мы можем понять, что он умер. Так нет или да?
Да, ну как умер? Он умер. Ну, его не могут найти до сих пор.
А. Так, одна дверь.
I think Edie was happy to finally have another painter in the family.
Неплохо рисует.
В перспективе так вообще хорошо. Ну, в перспективе я имею в виду. Перспектива. Перспективный малый. Ай, головой.
Семь лет. Прыгай, прыгай.
Milton Finch in The Magic Paintbrush.
Magic brush. Это с какой коммуналка выйдет?
Блин, прикольно.
То есть он зашел в двери просто в машине. И никто его не может.
I was 4 when Milton disappeared.
Блин, прикольно.
Видишь, у него даже нету даты смерти. Если у всех есть, Милтон единственный, у кого нет.
А я знаю, где дверь. Прорисованная.
Да, но мы не можем подать.
Mom spent months searching for my brother. Then she sealed the doors.
А выходить мы будем точно.
Whatever Milton had found in the house, Mom didn't want it getting out.
Вот в этом прелесть этого дома, потому что ты не видишь вон ту вот лестницу, видишь, пока ты не будешь возле Милтона. Вот когда ты выходил, ты мне даже не обратишь
Ну,
внимания.
потому что открывается дверь, ты видишь вот так вот, и еще типа ветром тебя сдувает, вот это, скорее всего, в эту сторону.
Ну
Вот
так
ты,
в этом и суть.
Не обращаешь.
Mom definitely blamed Edie,
Ну,
but
что это построено
I
вообще
think
реально?
Lewis blamed himself.
Да. Блин, тут дверь запечатанная.
After he graduated, he just spent more and more time in his room. Until Mom got him a job at the cannery.
Так, ну лучше направо, или налево?
Ну, может,
Да. Ну, лодка, типа. Как это, типа? Это держится, ума не приложу. Опа, калик.
ну, ему было 22, кажется.
Ну,
Lewis's
ладно.
room smelled very, very familiar. That part of him lived on.
Алик, гук, Аник.
Я же говорю, калик.
О, это такая жесткая часть. Это, наверное, самое артхаусное, что ты когда-либо в своей жизни будешь видеть. И то, что больше тебе
Dear
всего
Mrs.
тебе
Finch,
понравится.
as Lewis's psychiatrist, I can understand your desire for an explanation. As I see it, the trouble began in January, shortly after we convinced your son to seek treatment for substance abuse. Newly sober, I believe Lewis first noticed the monotony of his daily life. He kept working at the cannery. But he withdrew part of himself. In our sessions, I saw the same behavior. His mind began to...
В голове тормоза кончились, блин, дурак. Так, хорошо.
wander.
Раз начался.
I asked him to describe it. He said he started small, imagining a labyrinth. He'd feel his way about. Then something moved. Bats. And toads. And things that have not names. He knew it was all in his head. But he took it very seriously. I had hoped he'd find himself. But he found something more. I worried about him then.
Кстати, если я просто
Daydreaming at the cannery,
им джойстиком играю типа за чувака, винтик,
I spoke with his boss,
тогда
but he said Lewis had become a model employee,
сложно.
methodical, tireless, focused. Like a whole new Lewis. So I let him go on. I even encouraged him. It seemed very promising at first. He told me he'd made a new friend. On the edge of a city he named Lewis Topia. He built the city up slowly, brick by brick. Then he made musicians. And songs for them to play. He talked about starting a band. And he was always humming something. Every day his imagination grew stronger. He no longer spoke at the cannery. But his chopping was as reliable as ever. Then one day it struck him that all the cheering crowds, even the stones under his feet, were all in his imagination, so he could do whatever he wished. He held an election for mayor. And he won. They begged him to stay, but his mind was already wandering. It became a game for him. He'd conquer a city, then immediately push on. New Louisville. St. Louis. He started drifting away from our reality. Minneapolis. Until one day he forgot to go home from the cannery. Even as his mother pleaded with him, part of Lewis kept sailing on. In Lewisburg, he heard rumors of a handsome queen. The queen was on her own quest for sinister serpents. He followed the sound of her electric sitar.
Что я тебе могу сделать?
His chase led him to a golden palace east of the sun and west of the moon. Even then, his logic remained sound. He knew the world was all in his imagination. But he was so proud of having created it. In his own eyes, he'd become something greater than a king. For someone who'd never known success in the real world, I think it was overwhelming. And then it struck him
Он меня
that the
пальцем.
real Lewis was not the one chopping salmon, but the one climbing the steps of a golden palace. My imagination is as real as my body, he told me. It was hard to argue with him.
Цех поработал.
I began to forget the world we know.
Ну, его. Да,
Привычки.
Легалайз. Точно.
I think it pained him to remember Lewis, the cannery worker. He began to despise the man with a royal contempt.
Номер 9. Да, брат, конечно, ты, да,
I still thought I could save him,
поехал.
even after he said he was being crowned king over all the lands of wonder. The palace would be packed with his companions. Including the wise Calico who had insisted on advising him. is only one thing left to do. Bend down his head. And the rest I think you know. Mrs. Finch, your son was a kind man who will be missed by all of us who knew him.
Пипец.
My brother was really cool. I wish you could have met him.